While getting ready today, my wife asked me, why are you wearing that shirt? She says, you only wear it on Veterans Day or Memorial Day. I wear this shirt, of course, to honor these great Americans who are honored on those days. Today I'm wearing it to honor another great American, another real patriot, Bernard McFadden. His main goal in life, his main objective in life was to make the United States of America the healthiest nation on earth. Unfortunately, all the work that Bernard McFadden did during his lifetime to make America the healthiest nation in the world is no longer even being acknowledged. While the real fact is that he changed hundreds of thousands of lives, including mine. When I was a young boy growing up, I could not make any of the athletic teams in school. I couldn't make the basketball team, the baseball team, of course, not the football team. And that's a little hard on a young boy, as all of you can well imagine. One day I was just walking down the street and there was a newsstand. Boy, one particular magazine really caught my eye. The headline was, "Transform Your Body, Transform Your Life." Boy, that's something that really appealed to me. I plopped down my probably 10 cents for the magazine, and I brought it home, and I read it, and I reread it, especially the article. And I was particularly interested in the author, Bernard McFadden. I realized that he was a true visionary, and the courses that I had followed from McFadden were probably 100 years ahead of their time, as was he. Following the writings and teachings of Bernard McFadden changed my entire life, and it shaped my destiny. Honestly, that's a true story. At this time, I'd like to offer myself as living proof that McFadden's teachings really worked. They say a picture is worth 1,000 words, so here we are. What you're looking at now is a photo of me as a professional athlete, yes, actually a professional wrestler, when I was only 19 years old. And this is me today, 67 years later, following the teachings of Bernard McFadden, and that's why I'm making this documentary. As you watch this documentary, I'm going to promise you two things. The first thing is I promise not to take my shirt off. Yeah. The second one is you're about to hear a story, an incredible story of probably the most famous man most people have never heard of. This is not our first shot at making this documentary. I don't know, Richie, how many times have we tried to make this documentary?
Too many.
Too many. It's got to be 20 or 30 times, and each time we really weren't satisfied with the result. There's something I really need to tell you right here, right now, and that is that we made many different versions of this documentary. The one that we showed in Dansville, New York, was called The Castle of Wellness, and that was because the documentary centered, of course, on McFadden, but also on his prized possession, his most prized possession, which was his health hotel and spa that was located high on a hill in Dansville, New York. And I promise you, we're going to talk about that later. But anyway, let's go back and take a look at the premiere.
2010 was a celebration and a revival for the Castle of Wellness. Finally, a documentary with undeniable proof that this forgotten historical landmark in Dansville, New York was more than just a legend, but a reality. Today was the day that the secrets of the Castle of Wellness were about to be unveiled.
How many people do you think were here tonight wanting to see it?
We have 280 seats and room for about 30 handicapped. We turned away over 200 people.
Do you think there's a possibility for a second showing?
I'm game.
Excellent.
It was sold out! 285!
Oh my gosh.
It's sold out!
Oh my gosh.
She was the last person.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
We were so close. I mean, I thought he was kidding.
I think he should have charged more money, actually.
We looked forward to this for a week, and we got here by 7 o'clock, and it was already sold out. And there were about 100 people standing here. My friend Ann came up from Florida.
You came from Florida?
Florida.
Yes, and I won't be here to see. I mean, I'll be gone by the time you show a second showing.
But we definitely need a second showing.
Well, maybe we need to get this thing on PBS, and then everybody can see it.
Yes.
Wouldn't that be nice? Yes.
Well, this was a sold-out presentation, and I guess you could say a performance too, right?
It was very exciting to see the parts of what you're going to be putting together and delivering the message of how important wellness is in today's market.
I've never seen such excitement for a documentary. What did you think, everybody?
I thought it was a great film. I really did. I enjoyed it very much.
It was wonderful.
I suggested a matinee in the afternoon for the people 55 and older, because they're the ones that remember Bernard McFadden.
My mother worked up the castle on the hill, and I lived in Clara Barn House, sir, below the castle on the hill.
Wow.
I was born there.
So you liked it?
Oh, it was great.
I don't think a lot of people know a lot about the castle, especially my generation of people. Just done a wonderful job.
Excuse me?
It was very good. I really enjoyed it. It was interesting, and there's a lot of history I didn't know. So
I'll tell you what, I just moved up here from Philadelphia, and I'll tell you, it was very enlightening. I thought it was put together very well, and didn't realize the town of Dansville has such a history behind it.
I thought it was excellent, excellent. In fact, we have a picture of my grandfather's house with McFadden, and it would be my great-grandmother. We were born here, but we didn't know all that.
Well, most people don't.
Well, you saw what we actually experienced. Great deal of excitement. People in Dansville just loved it. And we were more than excited because there was an interest in this documentary by PBS. However, when they looked at it, apparently we were told that it didn't meet their content standards. And that was because we didn't have any money. We didn't have any budget.
And we still don't.
He's right. We still don't. So now we've decided that the best way to tell this story is simply to extract the best of the best from the multitude of documentaries that we've already produced. The story of Bernard McFadden, the greatest story never told.
Although virtually unknown today, Bernard McFadden was a household name in the 1920s and 30s. Even today, journalism schools recognize McFadden, along with William Randolph Hearst, as being the two most important publishers in the first half of the 20th century. His wealth allowed him the luxury of piloting his own private airplane. His business interests included real estate development and a multitude of business enterprises. The McFadden publishing offices were located on Broadway in New York City. The sign on the side of McFadden Publishing proudly announced the largest newsstand sales in the world, a true statement. The cornerstone of McFadden Publications was True Story, which at the time was the largest selling magazine in the history of the industry. Another successful True magazine was True Detective, where McFadden published the names and photographs of criminals that he called the 10 most wanted. FBI Director J. Edgar Hoover was so impressed by this feature that he instructed the Bureau to begin publishing a list of the 10 most wanted criminals being sought for federal crimes. This was the beginning of America's most wanted list of criminals. An indication of McFadden's popularity was the fact that 3 biographies on his life had been published. McFadden's fame and fortune provided access to the rich and famous, as we see one of his daughters in a mock boxing pose with heavyweight boxing champ Jack Dempsey, with child star The Little Princess Shirley Temple. Here's the king of Hollywood, Clark Gable, with the popular crooner Rudy Vallée, and in his office with his family and silent movie heartthrob Rudolph Valentino. McFadden's scope of influence even reached to the White House, as illustrated in this photo of McFadden and President Franklin Roosevelt.
How is it possible that most people have never heard of the man that developed the concept of the 10 most wanted, which is used today by the Federal Bureau of Investigation and even the subject of a popular TV show? A man who was so well known at that time that he had total access to some of the most popular and famous personalities of that era. Certain vested interests have had more than a century, 100 years, to make their case, to expunge, to delete, to erase the great legacy of Bernard McFadden. To explain this more fully, we'd now like to show you a clip from our 2015 documentary that we called The Case to Restore the Legacy of Bernard McFadden. We want you, the viewer, to serve as a jury as we present our case to restore the legacy of Bernard McFadden.
Ladies and gentlemen, today we're not only going to prove that Bernard McFadden is the father of the wellness movement, we're going to prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that his methods on preventative medicine are not only recommended, but claimed by today's healthcare industry as their own. His methods have been suppressed for more than 100 years. Okay, now stay with me for a second, because this is important.